This is the Truth Network. Welcome to Truth Talk Live.
All right, let's talk.
The truth is, I can't hide it. I can't hold it no more.
A daily program powered by the Truth Network.
This is kind of a great thing, and I'll tell you why.
Where pop culture, current events, and theology all come together.
Speak
Your mind.
And now, here's today's Truth Talk Live host.
Well, it was quite a State of the Union address. If you got a chance to watch it, if you may have seen reruns or some soundbite from it, clearly it was unprecedented. Clearly it was long and amazing on all sorts of different levels. Maybe it was amazingly hard for you. Maybe it was amazing in other ways for you. Right? This is Truth Talk Live. We love current events, and nothing could be more current than what President Trump brought Tuesday night. Where did that touch your heart? Where did you see God? I want this, obviously, we always want to be redemptive at the Truth Network because we're all about the truth. But I'm really interested, like, where did you see God show up? What amazed you? Because I think that testimony is what God says, that you'll receive power, right, to be my witness. And we're going to overcome by the word of our testimony. And I don't know if you noticed the number of testimonies that were called upon in that particular address. I've never seen anything quite like it. Maybe you never have. But what touched you, or maybe what offended you? 866-348-7884, 866-348-7884. And to say that if you're offended, I want you to call would be an understatement, because we all learn from your point of view, right? I know that other people have other points of view than I do, and I can't learn my own point of view. I already know that one. Maybe I need to learn it better, but I would love to hear whatever that is that God put on your heart, because I would imagine, based on the reaction that I saw from lots of people, that you have a reaction. And we would certainly love to hear it. As always, not as always, but as quite often, I have my running mate with me, Dr. Dwayne Carson, and it also is, not coincidentally by any means, the Collegiate Day of Prayer.
Yes.
And President Trump mentioned clearly that he felt like God is moving in America. And part of that's happening, he said specifically, was with Charlie Kirk on college campuses.
Yes.
And so how wonderful it is that, here we are, Doc.
Yes, and a day that's been set aside for quite some time. Every fourth Thursday of February, there's been a movement for people to choose a college and pray for that college. And making this movement bigger, the Collegiate Day of Prayer is having a live service from Liberty University tonight. It will go live at 8 o'clock. Different media outlets will have it. And they're going to be worshiping. They're going to be praying. Students are going to be praying. And I'm telling you, there's just nothing like being around students asking God to change their hearts, mold their hearts, not just change it, but shape it so they can be a vessel in God's hand. And we're seeing God move on a lot of college campuses. The question is Donald Trump right that he says it seems to be a religious revival taking place in America? And I'm interested in our callers letting us know what they think.
There were all sorts of things. There were.
Yeah.
If you watched it, I can't believe you weren't touched by it in some way.
Yes.
Good, bad, or indifferent. We got Jamal, but we want to hear from you. 866-348-7884. I know I grabbed you. 866-348-7884. Jamal, you're on Truth Talk Live.
Good day, guys. I hope you're doing well. And as usual, thank you for taking my call. I did not watch it. I just studied for a Bible class, and I had to devote my time to that. But, of course, I did hear about it. And what I heard was some good and some not so good. One of the things that stood out to me was how, and before I continue, this is not to slam one side or the other. This is about policy and about where you stand on some beliefs. So with that being said, when President Trump said, hey, if you are for, or if you think that government should be for Americans first, rather than illegal immigrants, stand up. I mean, it was a gotcha moment, of course, but logically, reasonably, why would any politician elected by Americans not stand up for that situation right there? I mean, clearly, it sends out a certain message, and it shows where they kind of stand. Then you had him invoking God, talking about God, and something that I didn't really hear President Biden do too much. Hold up the Bible. We had J.D. Vance go to the prayer of life. We had President Donald Trump gave an address at the prayer for life. And this is a walk for people who want to choose life for their kids and not to have abortions. And there was also another prayer walk, I think it was for Israel, something like that, a few years ago, that nobody from the Biden administration attended. And then you had a chant of USA for the hockey team. So if you're looking at this from an objective standpoint, how can you know? Sorry, before I finish that statement, even if you look at the platforms politically, and this is, I know you want to tie it back to the Bible, back to God. Here's where I'm bringing it back. I read the platform for the two parties. Without saying any names, you had one that had God in their platform. Another one had it in there, but they removed it. Rather than having God in there, they have social justice in there. So a party that has God, that goes to prayer walks, that speaks about God openly, is not afraid of, being Americans, not afraid to have their government protect Americans. To me, again, looking at this objectively, you got to choose one party that's for God, for Americans, versus the other party. And before I end this, I know it's getting long, before I end this, we know we are a nation of immigrants, but we cannot take care of the whole world. One of the best things that we should do is have people go to other places and have them lift up that place that's in need, as what the missionaries did. So that would be where I'll end it with this. Pro-God, pro-America, and we're for lifting people up here and abroad. And one party does that more so than the other party.
All right, Jamal. Well, we appreciate, believe me, your call, your view, and, obviously you may have that view and you want to say amen, or maybe you have the other one, and we would love to hear from you. 866-348-7884 is the number to call and chime in. 866-348-7884. Thank you, Jamal. As always, you're standing for America, and I know in your heart, you want what's best for everybody. So God bless you. I appreciate it. We got Joy is in Virginia. Joy, you're on Truth Talk Live.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Howdy.
Hi.
I have been praying for a long, long time because we have watched the Democrats prosecute illegally our beloved president, who they cannot stand because he loves God, he loves America, he loves babies, he loves Israel, and they can't stand him for all those reasons. And I want to say about his little watch, he should advertise it by saying Trump time is truth time. But anyway, what I called to say, darling, is I have been praying that God would keep his word, and he has done it marvelously. He said, I will bless them that bless thee. Oh, my goodness gracious, my precious Heavenly Father is blessing my beloved president. And, oh, God, please make the whole world see that you are God and you keep your word. I just praise and thank him.
Oh, thank you, Joy. As I know, Dr. Carson and I, we're so grateful, right, that God gets lifted up, here at the Truth Network, and by you, Joy. God bless you. Thank you for that blessing. That was amazing, right?
I'm glad to have found y'all.
Yeah. We got to go to a break. I hate that, Joy. Thank you for your call, but we need your call. You're sitting there. You got something to say? We want to hear it. We really do. 866-348-7884. We all learn from each other. You Call us, 866-348-7884. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. Today it is State of the Union time. It comes around, and it's coincides. I did not realize this with the collegiate day of prayer. That would naturally fall right in line with it quite often, and how appropriate. But we're talking about the State of the Union address, and where did you see God show up in that or not show up? Where did your heart come alive as he spoke? Or maybe you saw the testimonies of American heroes, congressional medals of honor, hockey teams, etc., something that stood out to you. We would love your call, 866-348-7884, 866-348-7884. I can't even believe. There's certain things that, if you're the host of a radio show on the Truth Network, you see this and you can't believe that somebody would sit in the House of Congress with a button on that they're wearing in a prominent place that obviously would be on camera quite often, with such an offensive place in the capital of our country on such a momentous night. It really makes you want to cry, doesn't it? I believe in freedom of speech, but I surely don't, if somebody used that word anywhere, on any radio station in America, it would be bleeped out. We'd be liable for a fine. Might take us off the air. But yet, this person could choose to wear that in such a place, and it's unthinkable to me. That touched me. There was something else that touched my heart. Was I thought it was. And I'm not the biggest Trump supporter out there, but I will tell you that I was truly touched when he brought out the girl that now is going to attend Liberty University, and the courage of standing up for parental rights, to make judgment calls on helping their youngsters, with any kind of gender decision like that. I think that was at the point that he said these people are crazy. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form anything like, they all have their opinions and their right to it, but my goodness, parents have got to have the right.
When we're dealing with teenage minds,
yeah, I wonder if you could bring his mic up a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. When we're dealing with teenagers and making decisions, even children for sure, but teenagers making decisions, there's a reason that we don't want them drinking until they're 21. There's a reason we don't want them driving until they're 16. And all of a sudden, we're going to let them make decisions about whether they're a boy or a girl, and they're not going to have their parents involved here. A friend of mine said about 6 years ago now, it seems like no one has CS anymore. He says, I have CS. And I'm like, okay, I need a little help. What is CS?
I guessed.
And
yeah, I bet it was common. It wasn't common sense?
It was. He said he had common sense. And I think what I picked up again on Tuesday night was I'm hearing some common sense. And this thought that it's okay for a teenager to be making a decision to have their gender change physically, not just, I want you to call me a boy. Now, I know I'm a girl, but you call me a boy. That's one thing. Change my name to a boy's name. Okay, that's another thing. But to be able to go and have people do a surgery on that child without the parents knowing anything about it, something has just gone plumb crazy.
Right. Well, you wouldn't even be able to do any surgery on a child
That's
without
right.
their parents. But this particular one, like, what's up with that?
Yes.
And how could these kind of things happen? We got Thomas is in Chesapeake. Thomas, you're on Truth Talk Live. What say you, Thomas?
Well, common sense is the right thing to apply when science is vague. And in this case, science really is not vague. So you've got a lot of people that have twisted it to make it seem like it is. But that's not really why I called. I'm picking up your station in Chesapeake, Virginia. I don't know how. It kind of floated over here. And I don't know where you guys are at. Where are you at?
Well, we have a station in, I think
Norfolk.
is it 96.9 you're listening to, FM?
100.1.
Okay,
yeah.
Norfolk.
Right, that's our Norfolk station. So that's wonderful.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I am a person who spent a lot of years praying about the sexual problems that the nation is trying to deal with. And when Lawrence versus Texas was approved by the Supreme Court, overturning it opened the door to overturn the sodomy laws. And I don't have anything against any particular group at all, but I knew, my common sense told me, this is not good. There's something wrong with this judgment. And of course, we now know what was wrong. Every form of fornication known to man, almost all of them, have been overturned as being, we had laws against all of it. Now it's all overturned everywhere. And everybody's feeling good about themselves and patting themselves on the back. Well, we have a big problem here. We were standing up for God for generations, and suddenly we turned our back on him basically in the public square and said, we're going to embrace immorality and call it morality because it's our values, because we value that human being. Well, I get the value of the human being, but a government cannot promote and protect fornication and expect to have God's blessing. It just isn't going to happen. And so we have this divide, and all Americans are to the left and rocked to the right. And when you're rocked, you're disturbed, you're upset. And this rocking is getting worse. And the reason I'm calling is because I want to point out something that maybe you've thought of, maybe you haven't. I don't know. But right now the Republicans are running the show, but 6 months from now they may not be. And when you have a party that's as offended as the Democratic Party is right now, they're going to push back as hard as President Trump has pushed for conservative Christian values. They're going to push back. And if they get both houses, they're going to have a lot of power. So here's my point. When I began praying about this problem, and I told you it was way back when, it was like 2004, I wrote a book about what happened in 2007 called National Morality. And in the center of that book, there was a proposed amendment to give the public square sexual morality authority back to the people on a state level. That is what the president says he believes. And I'm actively trying to get his attention so that he will pay attention to what I presented in that book. I've contacted Paula White, I've contacted Ted Cruz, and I've contacted the White House, and nobody's really paying me any mind. And I'm used to that because most people in America don't know how to react to public square morality. The reason is because public square morality is fractured by pornography, which is also legal in the country. But if you gave this authority back to the people on a state level, you'd end up with a fabric which is diverse. And it was the way the country started. It started out that way. The authority for these public square sexual mores was in the hands of the local people. That's the way it should be. Our problem is much bigger than what I'm talking about. Our problem is you've got an Orthodox Russian church who declared holy war on Ukraine. You've got a Russian nuclear-armed nation who went along with it and said, we're going to declare a holy war.
Thomas, I love your information, and actually I hadn't thought of some of what you're talking about, so I want more of it. And actually, I'm looking at your book. Apparently, there's more than one volume. So I'm excited to talk about that. Can you stay with us through the break?
Yes.
Oh, I hope so. And we would love your calls too. 866-348-7884. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. We are taking on the State of the Union, and you know what President Trump brought Tuesday night. How did that touch your heart? How did you see what, you know, from your standpoint, God show up or not show up? What made you come alive, or what disappointed you? We would love your view. 866-348-7884. 866, the number to call in, 866-348-7884. When we, right before they went to the break, we have Thomas in Chesapeake, Virginia, and he apparently wrote quite a volume on national morality. And Thomas, you didn't get to finish what you were saying.
Well, if we don't take steps to lower the rhetoric, and the people that are most offended right now are the Democratic Party, God bless them, everyone. They get in there, they're going to push back as hard as President Trump has, but they're going to be pushing in their direction. So just like the governor, Spam Berger, I believe her name is, in Virginia, that's what she did. She said she was a moderate, and of course she did not tell the truth. And now we see who she is, and we already knew, but she's doing what she does, who she is, and you know, we can't continue to let this rocking back and forth on the national level over these sexual issues continue to drive a wedge between just ordinary people. It's too hard on us. We have to stop it. We have to lower the rhetoric. The only way you're going to lower that rhetoric is if you reduce it down to a state level so that the people can decide in their own state whether or not they want to allow children to change their sex, that sort of thing. We're facing some horrible decisions that are coming our way, not just that. That's really a gateway medical issue. If they can get the American public to swallow that, they're going to be in a position where they can move forward with artificial life forms that are not human, and they may be able to successfully put a human in one of those bodies. And that's where we're headed. I know it sounds science fiction and horrible and impossible, but it's a very real possibility because the medical science is progressing in that direction. In addition, the flood and the Book of Enoch, whether it's true, whether the Book of Enoch is true or not, it doesn't matter. If what it says happened, that does matter. And what it says happened is that the angels corrupted the life form of humanity, and God couldn't handle it anymore. I'm done with this. And that is exactly where we're headed. And nobody sees it. Nobody talks about it. There's a lot of money in what I'm talking about, a lot of military applications, a lot of business applications, a lot of things that people can do here that are very dangerous because they offend God, they offend His Holy Spirit, because they take the body of a man, which is the temple of God, and they turn it into something else entirely. Can you imagine someone whose seed has been saved in a bank somewhere, that they take those chromosomes, whatever, they use them to create a life form that's not human, they put a person in that body. Imagine how offended that person will be when they grow up and realize what happened to them, okay? God will be 10 times as offended. So this is really a bad direction we're going in. We have to stop it. But you can't do it on a federal level because we're too polarized. Jesus said, let the wheat and tare grow together until the harvest. Well, you can't stop that. That is a declaration from God. He wants the wheat and tares to grow together until the harvest. Well, let's do it on the state level, because maybe we can avoid the condemnation of our international peers if we do that. Right now, BRICS is very successful because the Russians have succeeded in telling people that the West is decadent, America's leading the way, and we have to get away from the dollar. We're paying dearly for our love of fornication, and it's got to stop.
And as a preacher against fornication, like John the Baptist, you're going to be persecuted.
Yeah,
I don't care.
No, I mean, I'm just,
I know where to go.
yeah, I'm just saying that's the price. People do not want to be told. They do not want to be told what they can do in their bed. And preaching biblical truth, biblical morality always irritates that person that's involved in those sexual sins. And I did a Bible study one time with a group of people on John the Baptist. Why he lost his head is because he was willing to confront adultery. And so Thomas, as you're taking a stand, just know, yeah, it's going to be hard for people to accept it because
but it's beautiful. I think,
we have to call people.
There's things that are way more valuable than again, the way Revelation points it out, that, it's better to choose God than to save our own lives, or he will, who seeks to save his own life will lose it.
Yep.
I am in a position where I'm compelled to do what I'm doing. I'm not doing it self-righteously. I'm not self-righteous. I'm doing it because I wrote another book called When His Light Shines, A Remarkable Encounter with Jesus Christ. And the Lord appeared to me in my church, in Great Bridge Baptist Church in Chesapeake, Virginia. And that happened in 2006 when I was at the end of creating this book. And it was quite a issue because it took me 17 years to resolve and understand the vision. And so I finally wrote about it. It's on lulu.com. It's only 20 pages. You can put it on self-read, and it'll take about 20 minutes, and it's just a Christian testimony. There's nothing else in there. I don't tell you what to do or not to do. I just tell you what happened. So,
and the name of it is the name of that again is what?
When His Light Shines, A Remarkable Encounter with Jesus Christ. And it's a Christian testimony. I simply tell what happened. And it took me 17 years to resolve this, and I finally got it out last October.
Wow.
And so I'm compelled to move forward. And yes, I know that I already know, and Jesus said you got to pick up your cross. I don't have any choice. I got to tell it like it is. So that's
I think that you make an interesting point, and I completely appreciate it that President Trump pushed pretty hard, and clearly I could see the Democrats pushing back as hard. But what I saw, and I'm interested in your opinion because I value your opinion, Thomas, a lot. I can see that you've thought a lot, prayed a lot through your answers, is to me the American public had been sold completely on the idea that our immigration policies were inhuman, and however, they weren't seeing the consequences of our immigration policies until we saw the testimonies of the people who'd suffered as a result of those immigration policies. We had been sold on these ideas of gender, mutilation and that kind of thing until we saw testimonies of people that had actually been injured by those policies. And so what I saw was not just obviously rhetoric that was going towards the Democrats, more than let's tell the American people really what the State of the Union is, because I don't think they completely are getting the whole story. And I felt like he did a good job of, through testimony, sharing that for people to see there is a lot more to the ICE story than what they're hearing. There is a lot more to a lot of the things that he brought up in his speech. But what is your view on that?
The State of the Union, there's a lot he did not talk about because it wouldn't help him. He's in a precarious situation from the voting public right now, and he knows it. So he's focusing correctly, I think, on the economy and an upbeat tone with everything that he's doing. I understand all of that. The State of the Union, however, is very fractious. It's very painful. People are going through a lot, and you can't resolve it as president. You can't resolve it at the Supreme Court level. You cannot resolve it ever, but you can lower the rhetoric. That's common sense, which is what got me to call you. You started with common sense. Well, the proposal God gave me is common sense. It actually is consistent with the way the nation started, and it makes perfect sense that you don't need a Supreme Court justice to tell you how to have sex. It's so absurd. You don't even need to teach it in a classroom. People know how to have sex. Young teenagers figure it out, and they don't need a classroom to learn about it. It's all built on all kinds of other ideas. But I don't want to go down that path. In answer to your question, what's the State of the Union? No, I don't think he actually covered it very well.
Okay. So thank you, Thomas. I appreciate your call very much. God bless you. Keep up the great work out there, and keep lifting him up.
Well, I do. I pray for him. I ask people to pray for him. But let me just say one other thing, please.
Sure.
Our international peers are a big threat to us because they believe what the Russians are telling them about us. And nobody is saying this.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. God bless.
Okay.
Thank you. That's an awesome phone call. I would love to have yours. 866-348-7884. Again, we don't know, what your viewpoint is unless you tell us. And obviously, God gave you that discernment and that wisdom, and we can all learn from it. 866-348-7884. 866-348-7884. And Doc, I got to admit, I'm a little ignorant on what he just referred to. What are the Russians telling him about us?
I'm not quite up to date on that either. But I do know, Robbie, that when we take a 35,000-foot view, there's a lot of things as a Christian that should be bothering us. And it's not that I would ever say, I hate my nation, but I am heartbroken over my nation. When you think about abortion,
oh yeah,
how does that not break our heart? So from the outside looking in, when you look at all the fractured marriages, when you look at the immorality and the pornography, the internet has replaced the smut house. There was a day when you would go somewhere where you could buy pornography. 7-Eleven used to have pornography. Now you have pornography right there in your home, and they're the number one sites. There's so many things that I see in our nation that's decadent, as our friend said, that, we are a country in need of revival.
866-348-7884. What say you? We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. Today, the State of the Union, right? And had a lot of wonderful calls, and we would love yours on your reaction to, President Trump's speech, where you saw God in it, where you didn't see God in it, how you feel about what was said, what was done. And, we had some wonderful calls about some things that they see wrong with our country. Maybe we could use one or two on what you see right. 866-348-7884. We got Mike is in Dayton, Ohio. Mike, you're on Truth Talk Live, my friend.
Well, thank you for taking my call. You never know what I'm going to say. And so I'm going to say that it was kind of crazy back in the day that the founders of our country were Whigs. Dr. Carson helped me out with this. They wear gray hair, if I'm not mistaken, and that showed wisdom. And I'm so glad that you guys are showing wisdom with when we're talking about things that are a little bit high end or a little bit intense.
Above our pay grade. That would be one of the ways.
I love that. You know, Mike, you may recall that not only did they wear wigs, i.e. President, Washington's wig, they were powdered, to make them that color, which shows wisdom. But the party at that point in time was a wig party.
It was a wig party that came along.
And so, yeah, you had a double entendre or something there, Mike, just saying.
The Bible has like 17, if I'm not mistaken, 15 scriptures about gray-haired people and how you're supposed to honor them and
yes, and I honor Robbie all the time.
I'm feeling better all the time.
I'm glad. I got a lot of gray hair. You're going to see that, Robbie, when I go to the band camp. But it's just something about being slow to speak, and and that's what I'm trying to do here. Trying to be slow to speak. I love our president right now. He's conscientious of our beliefs, and we need to keep praying for him. Keep praying that he makes the right decisions for our country. Pray for our leaders. There's a lot of things that I've seen on that thing, and it was just awful. There was awful things.
Yeah, we need to be praying.
We need to not focus on the awful things, I think, but I think we need to focus on the godly things.
Yeah, I think the reminder there is not only praying for our president. We need to be praying for our senators. We need to be praying for our congressmen. We need to be praying for our Supreme Court. The United States has a unique governmental system. And so it's not just the president that makes decisions. We had a court in 1972 rule Roe versus Wade 7-2 that it was okay for a woman to have an abortion nationwide. So the Supreme Court, so when I look at my prayer list, I'm thinking of all these different people. Addison McDowell is our congressman where I live. I pray for him, and praying for our two state senators here, United States senators here in North Carolina. We've got to be people of prayer as people of the book, because that's what it teaches. Pray for your leaders, and they make decisions that affect us. Now, it doesn't matter if our government is totally anti-Christian. We can still be totally committed Christians. What do you think of that one, Robbie?
Well, yeah, that. In fact, those totally committed Christians in countries where they're totally persecuted are getting some of the best traction in the world right now.
Yes.
Right? The church in China, the church in Southeast Asia, that, I've interviewed the people that, going through horrible persecution, yet God is bringing so many to faith in those areas because, when things get dark, your light shines bright. And, it's an opportunity, but here we are, and we're given the opportunity we can to shine in whatever situation we got. And Mike, you're a bright light up there in Ohio. We're grateful for you. And I'm curious, during the speech, did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Me and my wife watched it. We watched most of it, not all of it. I came in a little bit late on it. I was. So
what was there a point where you were like, man?
Oh. I'll tell you. Yeah, the guy that received the Medal of Honor, or I guess that's the medal. He was on a walker or whatever.
Oh, the 100. Oh, you're talking about the guy that was in the helicopter in Venezuela.
Yeah. How humble he was.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how humble he was, and you know what? That's a heart of a man that needs to be humble to God. And he's humble to his situation. When you're humble like that, you're being led. And he was led, and he was led by God, and he was led in that situation. And he that's why he deserves that Medal of Honor, because he was a humble man, and he was able to just do the right thing at the right time. You know what I mean?
It's clear that you can't help but think of Private Dawson, other great heroes that God led. How else did he turn that helicopter around without his legs? Shot up like that. Unthinkable pain that he must have been in. And, if you've broken a limb or something, you could imagine having it being shot up. I can't. And I'm thinking that he pulled that off. You're exactly right, Mike. To God be the glory. He led him, and right now he's trying to understand how he did it himself.
Right. And that's how we should be with God. We should say, okay, God, take our lives, take control. When we do that, man, great things happen just like that. Great things happen, and I'm. It's not an easy thing to do as a man or as a woman to be humble and say, God, take control of our lives. You know what I mean? That really hit me.
And I'm glad it hit me too, Mike. And I thought, on what a stage, right? This man deserved that stage, that the whole country would see and hear that story, because like you said, what you're really hearing and seeing is what a mighty warrior God is, and what a savior, right?
What a savior. Yeah. And I loved how his wife just was smiling at him.
Oh, yeah. I mean? She was, that was class right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was so proud of him. She just was like, man, I'm so glad to have a husband like that.
Yeah. Well, then you think about the mom with her son who had been shot.
That one. Oh, I remember that.
She was praying, and he is going to live. And the president's like, I don't think so. Yes, he is going to live. And that's a praying mother right there.
That was a testimony before the world.
Yes.
And a strong testimony before the world of what God has done. Yeah. And my heart was going pitter-pat like that. That's beautiful.
Well, I had to say that as I watched the speech, there's things I want to hear about the economy, and I want to hear about our safety. I want to hear about where we're at with Iran. But I don't know about you guys, but all of a sudden in this State of the Union, we get a state of religion. At the 250th anniversary coming up, our president said there seems to be a resurgence of religion in this country, and it is needed. That really grabbed me, because you don't usually hear that in a State of Union. Hey, we got to talk about what's the state of the Christianity in our nation? What's the spiritual temperature? And that's what causes some of this show today, because are we having revival? Do we need revival? Is there something out there that is more important than money, and something more important even than our safety? And how we live for God is the most important. Is Jesus first in our lives?
Absolutely beautiful.
Amen. Hey, Dr. Carson, you must have a lot of gray hair.
He does. I'm telling you.
My wife said my hair's starting to become few. What does that mean?
Somebody told me once they turn gray and they turn loose.
Turns gray, turns loose.
I don't know, but I I'd have to say,
I've seen you online. You don't have that much hair.
But again, I'm grateful for your call, Mike, and I'm, I'm with you, Doc, that there is a lot of stuff, man, that is completely heartbreaking. Yeah. And the need for prayer is absolutely amazing. Yeah. But also, there's a need to worship and a need to praise the things that are praiseworthy.
Well, I hope a lot of our people will check out the Collegiate Day of Prayer. CBN's going to have it tonight. It's coming live from Liberty University. And
from where?
Liberty University.
Liberty?
They're hosting this tonight.
Do you hear a sense of certain pride there, not pride. I want a bad word, but his heart is, obviously his heart is with liberty, and I think it's amazing that they're going to do that tonight at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, and pick a college and pray for it. Pray for lives to be changed on college campuses.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Mike, so much for your call, Doc. As always, fun show to navigate. Thank you for all your calls. It means so much to me to hear your views and let everybody hear them. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.